Let me see. All right, cool. Good evening, Mr. Carmouche. I appreciate you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to conduct this interview with me. How are you this evening?
Blessed and highly flavored. How about yourself, brother?
I'm blessed as well, man. Highly favored. I do appreciate you taking the time out. Um, so with this interview, we're going to be going over a couple questions. The main focus of this will more so be highlighting your aspects of discipline, faith, resilience in your present life, and what helps you find balance and commitment to it all. How topics and conversations we share may have ignited our internal flame to keep pushing past adversity and trials throughout our brotherhood and friendship. And of course, exploring the reasons why having someone in your life inspires you to work towards betterment and purpose. Um, and then last but not least, discussing the importance in projecting futures outcomes based on the environment and social structures. So, the questions that I will be asking you, it'll revolve around that. Some things we may be able to discuss, some things we may miss, some things we might end up taking a left turn and just kind of going down memory lane. So I think it's all in for good conversation and engagement. So, one of the first questions that I wanted to ask you was, what event led to your devotion to evolving into the man you work towards becoming today?
Would you would this would it be acceptable if this answer could be like in parts, like let's say childhood, adolescent, teenage, adult?
I think that would be suffice. Judging based off of this, it will be going getting interpreted into my essay. So I feel like the more information, the better. So,
All right. Um, ask your question again.
what event or events do you believe led to your devotion to evolving into the man that you are today and that you continue to work towards becoming?
So the man that sits here in front of you today looks into my past and see and can account for the things that that led me to be as devoted of a person as I am today. So growing up in the ghetto, I grew up in Compton, California, in a predominantly Crip area. It was around a lot of fussing and fighting, and the thing that always kept me away from the streets and that type of lifestyle was the family. The family support that I had. My upbringing is mainly key. I was raised with Christ in my life from day one. And but as all children grow up, they don't really know about God. They know about God, but not Jesus. Anywho, what kept me out of falling into the wrong hands were automotive and and animals. So how I can account and attest to that. The things that I witnessed growing up, I believe no child should have to witness seeing those things. Ugly is ugly across the board, wrong is wrong across the board, right is right across the board. And with that being said, that altered, the mindset of a child. So PTSD, things in that nature and stuff like that, that alter me, and I still live with those things to this day. How automotive kept me out of that type of lifestyle was I always had something to do. I always had either a lawnmower engine to break apart, a dirt bike engine to mess with, a dirt bike to ride, a mini bike to ride, a go kart, you name it. My dad had tons of vehicles in the backyard growing up, so I will always pretend that I was driving those vehicles. Kids and their imagination. As I got older, um, say around like the preteens, 11, 12, 13. Around that age, I started to blossom into my young manness, I would say, if that's a word. Um, and I started to learn how to prove things more so to myself than other people. And so what that had looked like to me at one point in time as a very vivid story, I tell this all the time. My cousin Alf, he would always like, we always talk crap. That's just how he is. That's how family is. You shoot the crap, you talk a lot of crap. Anywho, I remember this one time I had a 110 pocket bike. It had a clutch and gears. And then I was gifted a 110 four-wheeler that was an automatic. And it had gears, but clutch separates those two. Same engine, same displacement, same mounting points. I was going to put the engine with the clutch onto the four-wheeler without the clutch. My cousin stood there boldly and was like, "Cuzzo, they not gonna work. They may be the same engine, but it ain't gonna work." Stayed up all night in the backyard, plugging in the way, and I got it to work. So the next day he came over. I pretended like something was wrong with it. I had two wires disconnected, and I kept kicking it, acting like it wouldn't start. And he was on the front porch at the house. "See, cuzzo, I told you it wouldn't work. Da 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 da." As soon as he said that, leaned over, click, first kick, boom, fired it up, willied it out the driveway. Willied it out the driveway. Came back, shut it off, just stared at him, and he was just like, "Oh, cuzzo, prove me wrong." I was like, "No, I proved myself right," and took that all the way into who I am now. What keeps me devoted now in my life is my wife, our soon to be child that we're expecting, and my peers and people that I call my family, such as yourself. These are the things that keep me devoted to stand on the right path and to not forsake God's name or his agenda, and to just keep pushing forward. Perseverance and patience, self discipline, and just the support team, and having a good support team and a good support system behind you is one of the biggest and most important things to keep you devoted into whatever lifestyle people decide to choose. But as for me, I chose Christ, and I chose family, and I chose automotive, the things that truly saved my life.
Mendable, brother. The next question would be, what is what do you believe the key factor about the bond that we share, or some people might consider it a friendship, brotherhood, two best friends, that you believe everyone should maintain with their peers, man or woman?
Transparency. It's an easy call. People like to say, like, "I'm an open book. You can ask me anything." But a lot of the time, even those open books have secrets or different messages that you have to learn how to read in between the line. You have to keep things in context for the time and period that those texts were written in. And we're not talking about Bible. We're just talking actually about, transparency when it comes to an individual. At certain times in our relationship, brotherhood, I can see myself being transparent to a certain extent. And that comes with understanding, like, if I give so much of myself away, how much power am I giving the other person? Regardless of how much they say they love and care for me, how much power am I ultimately giving them by making myself that available for them, in the sense of them knowing me and me not knowing them on the same level? So, which is why it was an easy call for me to say transparency. What we share is being very transparent with one another. No matter how ugly the truth is, we are going to share it. It's a safety mechanism, and also a defense and a offense mechanism and position that you hold. I'm not telling you the truth because I think this is the truth. I'm telling you what I perceive as the truth because I lived and experienced that truth. So I'm giving you me in essence through my experience that you weren't a part of, that I'm sharing with you. And I can only give you 100% of that. So if we don't have transparency, or anyone, in my opinion, don't have transparency to the point to where I can tell you the most bitterest truth versus give you the sweetest lie. And I feel like that carries and reigns more in people's life, because whether or not they're going to accept the truth at that very moment, they're going to see the truth in their life somehow, some way, shape, or form when it unfurls in front of them. So transparency, I think that's something that every community, every family, every relationship should always have, is transparency, through and through, through and through.
Would you it doesn't have to be necessarily a positive or negative experience. It could be a neutral experience. It's something that evolves around transparency. Would you be able to kind of like look back on a time that you felt like whether I was or you were transparency, and it was kind of like one of those like, huh, I didn't expect that, but thank you.
If you can recall this, which I'm pretty sure you can, there was a time where I felt extremely guilty for not speaking on a situation, and that situation revolved around uh, animals and how they're treated.
Mhm.
And so at that point in time, I felt like I wasn't gonna be okay with myself without telling the truth that needed to be spoken. And in return, you gave me your transparency, or your transparent truth, by telling me, yo, I heard what you said, but there's a way of saying something. We are all emotionally hurt. We're all, down and out at the moment. So I can receive what you're saying man to man. However, let's just try to take a look out. Let's try to take a look outside of ourselves and see how the majority can see what took place and how that situation could have gone if it wasn't the brotherhood that we shared. And so, with me giving my point of view of being transparent of my views, you also agreed with me on my views, but you helped correct me. And that is how I see you being transparent with me, because you were humble enough to say, man, you're right. It's not that I'm wrong, but you are right about what is being said. I'm not saying this in return to say you're wrong, but I'm saying it was the wrong representation. Doesn't mean that didn't get your point across. Just the way you presented it could have been it could have been it could have been shown differently. And so that helped me a lot with working on, even in super, super high stressful emotional moments, you have to find a way to lean towards love, patience, kindness in those heated moments. Now, it wasn't bad, nor was it good, but it was an experience that we both, I felt, learned from by being wholeheartedly 100% unapologetically honest. And I remember that, and I will always remember that.
I can definitely recall back to that time. I think because I knew how you felt and I wanted to acknowledge your feelings. And I'm also, at the time, I wanted to put myself in a position of first person and third person, as two individuals who feel like we've come a long way when it comes to the way we carry ourselves as men, and understanding that sometimes we, not that we can't demonstrate emotion, but understanding that there's always a better way to demonstrate it, you know? And I just think back to different times in my life where I might have said things or done things out of emotion that beforehand probably could have just been conducted a bit more gracefully. And due to that, it caused more harm than what the initial intention was, you know? And I know a lot of the times when we have these conversations of reflection, we do see a lot of ourselves in each other. And I also think that's what kind of brings us to being so close today, is always trying to kind of take the aspects that we see in each other and may not have crossed that bridge of acknowledgement of these things, but helping each other along the way and say, hey, like, I've been here and I want to help you with something that I felt like I had to help myself with. So if that's something I could pass along to you, I would want to essentially be a good friend to you and say, hey, like, I agree with you. I appreciate you. Just look at things from this point of view and just try this next time and see how it works out for you. Because you don't, if somebody is a genuine friend to you, you don't want to see them going down certain roads that you know isn't going to lead to anything but possible, destruction or harm or anything, whether it's for the environment or yourself or anybody involved. We don't, as humans, we don't naturally want to hurt people, but people do get hurt in the process just based off of emotional responses, So I do thank you for hearing me out. And I also want to thank you for being open and transparent with me during that time, you know? Um,
Hurt people. And
the,
even being hurt in that situation, that wasn't my intentions to hurt anyone else because we were all hurting.
mm,
But I think I appreciate you for also keeping it transparent on letting it be known, like, yo, I hear you loud and clear. Now hear me. We got to do better. And that's just really what it comes down to, you know? It's like seeing I can agree with you 100%. I'm gonna piggyback really quick off of what you said.
yeah, go ahead.
The people you love and care about, you don't want to see them going down a road that surely could lead to disaster. So it's like like I never tell you to do something I haven't done or I haven't experienced myself. And this is something I live by, and this is something I know you can attest to, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So what I'm saying is that you look at someone and you tell them you love them, how much of how much of that love is going to be with truth? And it's not to say it in a negative way. It is not to be taken in a negative light. But when I see you, I'm like, listen, I love you. You my guy, and you doing good. You've been doing everything as you should accordingly. But this is the only thing I require of you, and I hope you require of me. Do better, because you are better. And I'm not saying what you have done is not enough or has never amounted to anything. What I'm saying is that you can do better because you are better than the most people that I've ever encountered in my life. And I want you to hold me accountable just the same. Iron sharpens iron. In order to make a sword or a knife or anything, it has to go through a refining process. You have to heat the metal up 2600 degrees. It has to get extremely hot. And being extremely hot in a relationship is very uncomfortable. It's never a good feeling. Being beat on to be formed differently into a versatile tool. It's going to take on a lot of shapes. It's going to go through a lot of things. It's going to have to endure these things in order to get that fine pureness of what you're trying to refine out of it. So with us being brothers and us being men, we have to lean on each other in even the hardest manners. You got to be tough on me. I got to be tough on you. And if I'm going to be hard on myself, I know you're going to be hard on yourself. So this is what keeps us sharpening each other every day, because we don't expect the best out of each other. We just want to see each other do better and we just want to see each other do our best, doing our best. And that's like I said, that's nothing to take away from anything that has ever been done before. And that's not saying that everything that is being done now is not enough. It's just saying I know you can do better because you are better. Because you're better to me than most people that have been in my life, and most people that have been in my life is family. So, you know.
I appreciate that, man. It's a beautiful thing to find somebody who loves you enough to do what's uncomfortable, because growth is uncomfortable, change is uncomfortable, accountability is uncomfortable. Um, I've I appreciate us being selfless in that matter, to take on the uncomfortability for the sake of each other's future, individually or as a brotherhood. Where I'm pretty sure the thing you want to see me go on and do these amazing things that can revolve around, you know, manhood, can revolve around family, fatherhood. Uh, Christ is in all aspects, and vice versa. Same to you. It's being able to see the person next to you in such a better light than they may see view themselves. But sometimes, as we sharpen each other, we also love up on each other as well too, to showcase
Mm-hmm.
that you can you can be tough on each other, but also you can also distribute grace with each other as well. And I think that's an important balance that me and you have both really shared throughout this the few years that we've known each other, that we've been able to find that balance and know how to push and pull, you know? And I think that definitely comes with time and comfort of us getting to know each other and learning, like, you know what, like, yeah, I can talk to him about these things. We can dive into these kind of conversations. I don't got to worry about either one of us taking
That's
something
fine.
so far, you know what I'm saying, so far left where it's just like we don't got ever got to worry about the comprehension. We've always been
Mm-hmm.
able to hear each other out and just give a listening ear. Like, hey, I'm gonna give my points, but I also want to hear what you have to say, because it's not just about me at this point in time, you know. And I think that that's one of those aspects about our friendship that I really admire and I really do appreciate. Um,
I mean, really fast,
yeah,
witness what's going on now. What's taking place now? You're interviewing me, and all I'm doing is just giving you more of me that we already know about. But this is to help better you.
exactly.
You called on me, I answered, and this is what it looks like in active real time.
Hmm. I think
So yeah.
it's a great example to really prove in real time, like, and you
Just
develop.
right here, right now.
Right, exactly. And it's I realized I didn't really answer that as well, to a key factor that, everybody should maintain with their peers. I think another great aspect that we share, that I think not a lot of people, I would say in this generation, they don't really value as much from what I've seen, but being able to show up for each other, and I think a lot of times people kind of either expect it or sometimes they don't expect it, because maybe they're used to people not just showing up for them. They show up for everybody else, but not having that same energy and that love reciprocated. So I think it's a beautiful balance that we intentionally, show up for each other, rain, sleet, or snow, small or big. We show up. You know.
Because our hearts are aligned differently. We don't get tired of doing good or trying to be better. We don't get tired of that. We get frustrated when I would like to say we get frustrated when the people that we've constantly and continuously show up for take it for granted as if like that is the thing that like that is always supposed to be like that. And even still with the heartbreak that comes along with realizing that out of certain people in relationships, we constantly give. And regardless if that's being poured back into us, we know how to find ways to take our time to recharge our batteries and keep pushing. And so that right there is the resilience of perseverance, if you ask me. And so it's not the fact that I don't think that this generation appreciates it. This generation didn't have to do it as much as we did growing up. This generation doesn't know what it's like to, you know, to grow up with that orange VCH cassette tape.
Mm-hmm.
This generation don't know what it's like to turn on that TV and feel a static on your face and your hand. There's certain experiences and there's certain timelines where things fall behind, and it's for the people who are back there, which is us in that age, to sprinkle it down and let it be known like, yo, these are the customs, these are the things that made us this way. You look up to us, you need to practice these things. And it's holding each other accountable.
I ever tell you, I believe you're gonna be an amazing father.
Yeah, you tell me that quite a bit.
Just making sure I told you again.
And you already are, so
I appreciate that,
to
brother.
reiterate it.
Can you put in words a moment or a statement from maybe that you feel like we've shared between ourselves, or that maybe I've given to you, you've given to me, or I'll probably give you one as well too, so we can definitely give a mutual response for that. But that's captivated our attention and led to our future endeavors in self growth and manhood. Like, so I guess to keep it simple, was there a moment or a conversation that happened in the past that really led to the relationship we have now? And at first I did write it out to be for self growth and manhood. But I mean, I think we've definitely answered that in the first two questions, just off, well, at least on the second one, off of reflecting. So I would say, I think it's important to reflect as far as what really started it all. Can you think back to a moment, kind of like what was going on that day, what we were getting into, and you kind of just had that moment where you kind of looked over and you was just like, you know what, I kind of like this guy. I think he's all right.
You listening? Let me elaborate on that. Everybody always got something to say, but nobody has time to listen to what's being said.
Right.
Everybody always has the most important story. Everybody always has the most important message to give. Everybody is the most important character in their own story. And what I meant by, to answer your question, a time and a moment to where you listened, is where I was working at this rinky dink bar in Colton, California by the name of Schooners, for this company called L1G. And you were also a part of that company and a part of that shift, not that shift that night, but you were also a part of that area, that detail, that that you're a part of that assignment, but not that night. And what I meant by you listening is some things that took place that night. Some girls came by to the bar. They wanted to jump this other girl. I told them it's not happening on my premises. Parking lot is free game. Do what y'all want. I don't care. Don't bring it to me. So when the girls left the bar to go out to the parking lot, it wasn't no ambush. The girls were waiting for them. They all got down and got into it. Now you were there along with past experiences. And my fiance at that time, now my wife, she was there. And the inside security stepped outside to come break it up. I was the outside security. The inside security was just like the bar hand. He cleaned up, make sure everything was good, but he also did security. As for me, my job was solely security. Checking people, taking knives, taking weapons, telling people to take their drugs to the car, and things of that nature. As girls go outside, they start fighting. I let them hash it out. I don't too much care. It ain't on my jurisdiction. It's out of my hands. Somebody see it, they call the police. I'm not doing it. I don't feel like doing the paperwork. Not up to me what people do. It's up to me what I do. And so that very night, I told the women to break it up. If they didn't listen, I was macing everybody, and I don't care. They didn't break it up. I maced everybody. One of the girls got mad and threatened me once, twice, and the third time it clicked. And when she said that, she said, I'm going to have my biker homies and brothers, yada, yada, come back up here and shoot the place up. Then I turned over my shoulder. I looked at you. I said, get her home. Leave. And you did exactly that. You took my fiance at the time, which is my wife now. You took my wife and got her to safety. Now, whether or not you were there to experience the rest of the night, I showed my ass. Excuse my language, sorry, class. But I told her I'm here Fridays and Saturdays from 9 to close and tell them to come see me right now. But the thing is, most people want to sit there and try to show how about it they are, or how much they got a person back, and how much they really there to be in the trenches with a person. And that's not always the case. The case is listening to the greater good. And what could have happened that night is that woman could have said something, and my wife could have not liked that, and she could have wanted to do something. Now my wife is being marked out because these females got a grudge with her because her husband's at work and she's trying to defend her husband in some form of way. You know, she could be running through the city doing her own whimsical thing, and they could see her and want to attack her. And I didn't let that happen. So seeing into the future, I told you to get her out of there. You did exactly that. You didn't put up no fuss, no fight. You said, let me know when you're good. And that was that. You protected what was closest thing of protection that I needed to be protected. Without hesitation, without question, you did the right thing. You listened. It wasn't about you taking her home. You listened. All the hoopla, all of what was going on. And I was an armed security guard. You listened. That's the most important thing. You didn't try to say, yo, I got your back. You need me here. I can go and turn around. I said, all right. I said, get them out of here. And you saw the seriousness in my face. You saw the level of aggression where it could have went as well as I did. And you took action just by listening. Sometimes that's what people need in their lives. They just need a listening ear. People say, I want to have a conversation. They really kind of don't sometimes. If you just be quiet long enough, you allow a person to talk, you can see all the demons they fighting. And so that was the turning factor that led into our future together, is when you listen to me and me asking you to do something very important for me, and without hesitation, you jumped into action. And so at that very moment, I knew that I can depend and count on you when it comes to someone that's so precious to me. If he can listen and do that, I can trust my life in his hands. And if I trust my life in his hands, and I can defend my own life and I can defend his or anybody else's who can't defend themselves. Is it the type of men we are? He put himself in a position to defend my wife. Was he obligated? Because we're brothers? Because we homies? Co-workers? No. You had no obligation. It was not your responsibility. But yet you wore that badge of honor for me. And that I cherish. That I don't let go. That I don't take for granted. That doesn't get glazed over with me so easily. And so I digress.
Appreciate you, brother.
All glory be to Jesus Christ.
Amen. Oh man. Yeah, you threw me off with that one. Jeez. All right.
Oh man.
Like that wasn't the reaction I was trying to give out. My fault. No, that all male sounded kind of crazy. Um man. Um
Kind of hard to measure up to that one, everybody, huh? He like, you ain't done nothing nearly that close for me.
no, you good, you good. Oh man, bro. The crazy thing is, bro, like I know it as well as we get along and as much as we do have in common. I have a thing with just it's a bit hard to explain, but I've just learned to have discernment with certain things and listen to myself. Most importantly, as I've gotten older through the years, um, and learning how to have my own insights with people. As you know, I'm somebody who really is a very keep to myself kind of person. I don't have no issues being respectful. I have no issues being polite. I have no issues being kind. Now, it how I open up to the next person definitely varies. And I would say the day that I approached you, this was on another contract, another gig that we had when we first met.
Redlands.
Mm-hmm. Working at the Orange Groves, the little wedding venue. And I was already coming off something where I felt like I was at that point betrayed, yeah, in the utmost level. Um, so at that point in time, my trust in people, my trust in humanity was kind of just out the window at that point in time. But when I had met you, um, weird. If we being transparent, I didn't want to talk to you. I didn't want to approach you. I didn't want to be around really anybody. I didn't want to be at work that day. I wanted to be chilling on the road to the beach somewhere in my car, just bumping oldies. But but something just kept pulling me in your direction, bro. And it's like I've learned about myself. Usually, if I think one way, but my body is telling me something else, to just listen to it. Some of the times in my life that saved me. Some of the times in my life I've met amazing people, all by the sake of chance uh, and blessings. So that day when I like bumped into you, bro, someone was just kind of just telling me like, "Hey, you might not want to, you might not feel like it, but go just lean on this person over here. And I couldn't understand why for like the longest period of time. And I think low key that was like what motivated me to kind of not necessarily try so hard, but more so just kind of come to you with open arms. You know, and I know we had that kind of conversation. We were like, why is this guy talking to me? Why is like like
Yeah, you already know how I am.
what do you need? What do you want? Like, you know, so I was thinking the same way. But you know, it's just the way my life had the cards that have been dealt in my life. I've just been on the other side of that where I don't listen to myself, and I ended up dealing with something way rougher and way harsher than I imagined. And you know, you talk about when life be like beating you down, you kind of get tired of beating. So you just like, all right, you know, you want me to go do this, I'll do this. So um as as defensive as me and you are, bro, something about you just screamed safe. Believe it or not. And a lot of the times with uh me being able to read people in a weird way, sometimes I don't even understand my own readings and my own feelings. You know, but yeah, bro, you felt safe. And as I got to know you, I realized that you had reminded me so much of somebody that I had essentially developed a relationship with in a short amount of time. And we, again, had considered ourselves brothers at some point, you know, and it was somebody who also met in my past in the security field. And like when I say it, you might laugh, but like the gentleman I'm talking about, his name was Dwayne Green. He was one of my supervisors when I'm back during COVID when I was working at the hospitals at Corona Regional Facility, or medical hospital. And our friendship developed over a pack of Skittles, not a pack of Starburst, and a can of Sprite, which is weird to say. But the way me and him had conversations, the way me and him was transparent, reminded me a lot of the way me and you carry ourselves today. And it was like the first person that I met outside, I would say in my adulthood, that kind of reminded me as like an older brother and than not. And Lord knows how I feel about my own blood siblings, you know. So uh he ended up passing away shortly, probably during like the middle of COVID due to him having a heart attack in his sleep. I found out the next day. And the last thing I said to him was like, hey bro, like can't wait to, you know, meet you at the vending machine the next shift. So that was probably my first time really experiencing what it feels like to really lose a brother on an emotional scale. Uh, and I think that day, the the comfort that I got from you reminded me of him. And something in the back of my head was like, hey, if you had another chance to kind of develop another brotherhood like that, would you take it? And I said, yeah, I would. So call it a blessing, call it a hunch, call it a coincidence. I don't really believe in coincidences, but you know, when I tell you that I appreciate you and I love you as a brother, I really do mean that. And I don't need not saying anything or discrediting your experiences and your connection to me. Um, I would say for me, the simplest aspects of generosity, uh, in genuine people is something that I've probably have had the least amount of experience with in my life growing up. So it's like to find somebody who, like I could safely say, cares for me, but also doesn't mind kind of calling me out on my crap. I feel like that's more of a brother to me than anybody else that I've experienced. Is dealing with the aspect of never really having that. So in my mind, the fact that you care enough to set me straight, the fact that you cared enough to be transparent and honest with me and you didn't smile in my face, but then had something to say after the fact, you let me know right then and there. I really don't feel like talking to you, but we could talk anyway because we got to work this shift together. Like, I can deal with that. That's fine, you know? So, but yeah, bro, like it sounds very simple, but it's not simple to those who are really truly understand what it's like to have without. So,
Don't simple to the simple minded.
oh yeah. So I appreciate you for feeling. I don't even want to say feeling shoes because it's not really you're your own person. So I would say thank you for helping me develop a real example of what a true brotherhood and a true friendship and a true bond should look like, and not what is fathomed or fiction. Uh, and I think that's essentially what keeps me going and keeps me locked in with you is the fact that it is real, it is raw, it is unfiltered at times. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it sucks, even if me and you both been like, I don't feel like hearing this today. But sometimes you need to hear it, you know? And those things I appreciate so much about just friendship alone. It don't gotta have to deal with the things we do. It don't gotta have to deal with money, where you're at in your career, where I'm at in mine. That has nothing to do with materialistic things. It's just overall care and and acknowledgement of each other as human beings, as men, um, to know that you have uh, a brother in arms, so to speak. You know,
Yeah, I I say ditto to all of that.
but
And that's crazy. As long as we've known each other, I never known that story. My condolences.
I appreciate it,
But I
man.
don't believe in coincidence either. Ain't none coincidence. How can two things appear magically and coincide? Nah, just that's too much math to do. That just don't make sense to me.
I'm sorry, I just thought about a meme. It's not proper math. It's not, it's not correct math. No.
It's
Um,
not math.
it's not mathing. But yeah, man, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do appreciate conversation. I appreciate the vibes, the acknowledgement, and the transparency, of course, to wrap it all up.
I'm gonna say
Um,
that was all the questions.
yeah, just three questions, man.
Sheesh, I feel like I should have talked longer. I'm messing.
They open ended, so they can. Granted, like bro, honestly, we was taking like probably like 15 minutes. Or actually, it was the last two. Them last two questions, I was probably what probably really opened up the conversational pool and really just had us diving into experiences and details. But that's important for the essay because it gives me a chance to kind of listen back to it and really go back into the things that you were talking about. Trying to think for quote purposes. Do you see? I'm trying to think of an appropriate example because the environments that we worked in weren't exactly appropriate. So trying to come up with it. Okay. Do you when I got my first apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and we wanted to celebrate with you guys essentially. I think that's what that's what I think that was the only thing I was missing out the interview. So the first time y'all came, well, not the first time you came over, but the first time we all decided to celebrate this new chapter together. Excuse me. Um, in a very in a bit of a detailed description, if you could remember something you saw that stood out to you, something that maybe you smelled that stood out to you, something that um, you felt.
The blue and gold carpet, the blue and gold rug. I like that rug a lot. I like blue, and I love gold. I love gold because it's like gold is one of the most finest metals that you can get that comes from the earth, and it's just like something everybody wants. It's something so sought after. Like it's the most versatile metal you can use and apply for certain things. Gold does the best in heat reduction. Not sure if a lot of people out there know, but he already introduced who I was as a car enthusiast. So McLaren, they made the F1 McLaren, and it is a centered cockpit driving type of car with two passenger seats right behind the driver's seat. It's now estimated to be like a $20 million car. However, what they like to do with crazy things in exotic cars, they bathe the entire engine bay with 24 karat gold to bring down heat, and they're the only car company that done that. Now there's other like type of gold reflective materials and stuff like that. However, in every electronic device, your laptop, your computer, your TV, your calculator, anything that has a motherboard is going to have some form of gold in it to help conduct and, you know, keep the electrical currents flowing at a nice operating temperature. I love the color blue for the simple fact that, the water's blue, you know, my blood is blue on one side of my body. I'm messing around. Nah, I love the color blue because it's just always been a very, very deep color that attracted me to it. A lot of growing up, a lot of old school cars. I think I have one. Give me 1 second. Yeah, give me 1 second. Which one is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? It is the 41. It's the 1940 Willys pickup. So I used to collect these little model cars as a lot as a kid, and well, my dad used to get them for me all the time. My mama let me try that all the time. My mama let me have those chips all the time. She said I can have those chips when nobody around. um, my dad used to give me these all the time. They're called muscle machines, and he used to always collect and get them for me. They just super cool, and I just started collecting them as an adult. And I had one that was this same blue, but it had a basically a tan it was two-tone. It had a tan top with a blue bottom. So it's basically the same color carpet, like same style of the carpet. And I'll just show you this really quick. This is a 1940 Willys pickup. It's made by Ford. It was obviously made in 1940. But they didn't come looking like that clearly. But this is just how, you know, these car creators made them. But this color blue and stuff like that, and I used to always, I'm thinking about the packages now, but when I did, you know, I played with them and act like they're doing wheelies and drag racing and all that type of stuff. And there were just so many of them in different blues. Back to the celebration. I remember the carpet. I remember the rug because it was a very, very nice accent that kind of like when you walk into your home at the time, excuse me, and you see how your layout was of how the home decor was, the carpet, that rug, not the carpet, that rug kind of drew you into the living room. It kind of drew you to that common place where I'm not sure if there's well, I hope that I would love and pray and hope that a lot of people out there can contest to this. But growing up, I had that family structure to where we all came in the living room. We all had either movie night, and then my dad figured out like, yo, do y'all want this for dinner? Y'all want that for dinner? Y'all want breakfast for dinner? Y'all want dessert for dinner? Y'all want dinner? And it was always that type of stuff. So that memory and just the visual of remembering walking in and seeing that it was it just it cried and screamed aloud like unity, like coming together, oneness, love, laughter, um joy, pain, tears. It had everything that comes with the titlement of family all in that one setting to me. And that's what I like most about that rug, because although I never spoke it to anyone at that time, that's how I internalized it, and that's how I always felt about it. Those are the memories that, thinking back to your place at that time, give me deeper, greater memories back to when I grew up. Speaking of how I grew up, I remember going with my dad to LA to go buy this like 300 foot of blue carpet, 300 foot roll of blue carpet. It was like 300 feet by, it was like 300 feet by 12. It was big. It took both of my brothers, my dad, and me all to get it in the back of the tailgate of the truck. And I mean, that sucker was heavy. Man, I was just a kid, but my dad painted the living room blue. He did the carpet blue. Um, so blue is one of my favorite colors. I'll say it like this: black, blue, gray, white. Those are like my four primaries that I always will be attracted to. And then my other three that are outside of that would be red, pink, and gold. And so, you know, that that I will always remember. I can give you one more. The smell of hay. The smell of hay. So yeah, that's just enough right there. Smell of hay.
Could you describe the smell of hay?
The smell of hay smells better than fresh cut grass. It smells like a more expensive grass. Not marijuana or anything, and that not no coding, no subliminals. You know when people be like, "Hey, you come here," I'll be like, "Grass is cheaper. Eh, grass is greener and it's cheaper." I'd be like, "Hay's for horses."
I can't with you.
But hay has its own significant smell. It smells like, and I've been around manure and it enough to kind of differentiate it. Um, Hate has this airy, like not airy like air, but like it has this light, airy style of like grass. If you can picture just like the wind blowing on a mountainside and it's just green pastures and you just see all the like the grass just moving with the wind going up to the peak of the that little
Mm,
slope of the mountain. It is that kind of airiness, and it also has this fresh, just plain smell of what green would smell like and what fresh soil would smell. It's just kind of weird. That's the best way I can kind of
I got you.
differentiate that from grass.
No, that was great. I was looking for some. You gave me the rug. You gave me the hay. I'm cool with that. Um, and you dived into a little bit of your childhood with something that you could kind of sit back and relate to about your own upbringing with your pops, and one of the aspects of your family. So I'm glad that could have incorporated um one of those memories for you. That's amazing. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, man. I think I think that might conduct our interview, brother. We answered everything, dabbled into some memory lanes, um, and we learned a little bit more about each other in this conversation that I think I or you didn't know until up until this point. So I could appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I'm in deep regard to you, brother. I appreciate you for having me as your interviewee. I hope I got the job.
Yeah,
Uh,
most definitely hired. Most
yeah.
definitely.
As soon as I get
Um,
in the job, I'm taking everything off. Sleeves is coming off.
he said, I ain't got to wear a tie. All right, say less. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'll probably end up just calling you after. If not, you're not gonna get off right here and now. But thank you for the interview. This will definitely be a big help on my second interview. I mean, essay. I'm pretty sure my teacher will be impressed and hopefully, heartfelt. You know, see kind of,
Hope so.
huh?
I said, I hope so.
Yeah, kind of diving into the lives of her fellow students. So thank you again. I hope you and sister-in-law have an amazing rest of your night. Um, if you are going to sleep, I'll tap in with you tomorrow, man.
We are, because she got work at what, 5 a.m. So that's like 4 hours now.
Yeah. Well,
Three and a half hours.
get y'all some sleep, and then I'll let you know how the essay turns out.
Most definitely. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for giving me some insight on some things I didn't know about myself and you. And yeah, I love you, brother. God bless you. Make sure you say your prayers, and we'll chop it up soon.
Love you too, brother. God bless you as well, bro. I'll catch you soon.